What is spirituality? Did you know that spirituality is one of the most ancient and yet most misunderstood aspects of human life? For thousands of years, people have searched for ways to connect with something beyond the material world. But here's the surprising truth. Spirituality is not necessarily about religion, nor is it confined to rituals, temples, or dogmas. Instead, spirituality is often described as the deep and personal search for meaning, connection, and transcendence. At its core, spirituality answers questions that science and material life alone cannot. Who am I? Why am I here? What happens after death? These timeless questions have haunted humanity since the dawn of consciousness. While religions have attempted to provide structured answers, spirituality is broader, more individual, and more fluid. It is the human longing to feel that life has purpose and that we are part of something greater than ourselves. One of the biggest misconceptions is to confuse religion with spirituality. Religion is organized. It has institutions, rules, sacred texts, and collective practices. Spirituality, on the other hand, is often personal. A person may consider themselves spiritual without belonging to any religion. For example, someone who feels connected to nature, who meditates, or who contemplates the mysteries of the cosmos may be deeply spiritual, even if they do not identify with a particular faith. Spirituality can exist within religion, but it can also exist outside of it. But here's something fascinating. Even in today's scientific age, where logic and technology dominate, the need for spirituality has not disappeared. In fact, many argue it has become even stronger. Why? Because modern life is filled with uncertainty, stress, and disconnection. People live in crowded cities, work long hours, and often feel lost in the chaos of consumer culture. Spirituality, in this context, becomes a way to return to the essence of being human, seeking inner peace, harmony, and meaning. It is no coincidence that practices like meditation, yoga, and mindfulness have exploded in popularity across the globe. They are modern gateways to ancient spiritual wisdom. Another interesting aspect is how spirituality often involves connection. Connection to the self, to others, to nature, or to the universe as a whole. When someone says they feel at peace, watching the ocean, or inspired under the stars, they are experiencing a spiritual moment. This connection provides not only comfort but also resilience, helping individuals navigate pain, loss, or uncertainty. And yet, spirituality remains mysterious. Can it be measured? Can it be defined? Some scientists believe that spirituality may even be a natural aspect of human evolution, a built-in mechanism that helps us survive and thrive by giving us hope and a sense of belonging. Others argue that it reflects something much greater, something that transcends biology and the physical world. So, what is spirituality? It is not a simple answer. It is at once deeply personal and universally human. It is the invisible thread that links us to one another, to the cosmos, and to the eternal questions of existence. Whether expressed through prayer, meditation, art, or silence, spirituality is the search for meaning, and that search is what makes us truly human. Philosophical theories of spirituality. Did you know that some of the greatest minds in history have spent their lives trying to define spirituality? From ancient philosophers to modern psychologists, the concept has been debated, analyzed, and reimagined countless times. Yet, despite centuries of thought, spirituality remains as enigmatic as ever. Take Socrates, for example. The Greek philosopher believed that true wisdom came from knowing oneself. He taught that self-examination and the pursuit of virtue were spiritual acts, guiding the soul toward truth. For Socrates, spirituality was not about worshipping the gods in temples, but about aligning the inner self with justice, truth, and goodness. In a sense, his theory was that spirituality is the foundation of ethical living. Later, Plato, Socrates' student, introduced the idea that the soul belongs to a higher realm of eternal forms. To him, spirituality was the process of remembering and reconnecting with that higher truth, beyond the illusions of the physical world. This perspective laid the groundwork for many mystical traditions, where the material world is seen as temporary and the spiritual world as eternal. Centuries later, Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, offered a groundbreaking interpretation. Jung saw spirituality as a vital aspect of the human psyche. He believed that humans have a natural tendency toward individuation, the process of becoming whole, and that spirituality is part of this journey. Dreams, myths, and symbols, he argued, are expressions of the collective unconscious, a shared spiritual heritage of humanity. According to Jung, ignoring spirituality leads to imbalance and even psychological suffering. Then there's Albert Einstein, who, surprisingly, often spoke about spirituality. Though not religious in the traditional sense, he referred to a cosmic religious feeling. For Einstein, spirituality was about awe and wonder at the universe, a sense of humility in the face of its vastness and complexity. He believed that this cosmic sense of connection was essential for both science and human meaning. Other thinkers, like Friedrich Nietzsche, challenged spirituality by declaring the death of God. Yet even Nietzsche emphasized the need for humans to create their own values, to rise above meaninglessness through personal strength and creativity, a philosophy that, in many ways, can also be seen as a spiritual quest. So, what do these theories teach us? That spirituality has many faces. For some, it is about connecting with eternal truths. For others, it is about self-knowledge, psychological growth, or cosmic wonder. Each theory reflects not only the time in which it was born, but also the universal human need to explain the mystery of existence. And here's the striking part. Despite their differences, all these theories point to one truth. Spirituality is inseparable from the human condition. Whether through philosophy, psychology, or science, the attempt to explain spirituality reveals just how deeply it is woven into our search for meaning. Science and spirituality. Did you know that science, once considered the enemy of spirituality, is now one of its greatest allies? In recent decades, researchers have started to explore the relationship between the mind, body, and spirit with surprising results. It seems that spirituality, far from being just a mystical belief, may have measurable effects on human health and consciousness. Take meditation, for example. Neuroscientists have studied the brains of long-term meditators and found fascinating changes. Regular meditation can alter brain structures, strengthening areas associated with attention, compassion, and emotional regulation. Brain scans show increased activity in the prefrontal cortex and decreased activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and stress. In other words, spirituality, when practiced through meditation, literally reshapes the brain. Then there's the study of consciousness, perhaps the greatest scientific mystery of all. Some scientists argue that consciousness is simply the product of neural activity. Yet others believe that consciousness may extend beyond the brain, suggesting a spiritual dimension to existence. Experiments on near-death experiences, for example, have revealed cases where patients reported vivid perceptions even when their brains showed no measurable activity. Could this mean that consciousness, and therefore spirituality, transcends the physical body? Another fascinating field is psychoneuroimmunology, which studies how beliefs and emotions affect the immune system. Research shows that people who practice spirituality, through prayer, meditation, or even gratitude rituals, tend to recover faster from illnesses, experience lower levels of inflammation, and live longer. Spirituality, it seems, has tangible benefits for health and well-being. But here's the paradox. Science seeks measurable proof, while spirituality often thrives in the realm of mystery. Can love, compassion, or transcendence truly be reduced to brain chemistry? Or are they evidence of something more profound? Some physicists, inspired by quantum mechanics, even speculate that the universe itself may be interconnected in ways that reflect spiritual principles. The idea of quantum entanglement, where particles remain linked across vast distances, has been compared to the interconnectedness described in mystical traditions. Ultimately, the relationship between science and spirituality is not about one replacing the other, but about dialogue. Science provides tools to understand how spirituality affects us physically and mentally, while spirituality provides meaning and context that science alone cannot explain. Together, they offer a more complete picture of human existence. So, did you know? Science is beginning to validate what spiritual traditions have said for centuries, that our thoughts, emotions, and inner practices shape our reality, our health, and perhaps even the very nature of consciousness itself. Spirituality and life purpose. Did you know that one of the greatest gifts of spirituality is the ability to give life meaning? In a world where people often feel lost, disconnected, or overwhelmed, spirituality acts like a compass pointing toward a deeper purpose. Purpose is not about external success, money, fame, or possessions, but about alignment with one's inner truth. Spirituality helps people discover who they really are and why they are here. For some, purpose comes from serving others. For others, it is about creating beauty, seeking knowledge, or living in harmony with nature. Whatever the form, spirituality transforms ordinary existence into a meaningful journey. Psychologists have long studied the relationship between purpose and well-being. Studies show that people with a strong sense of purpose live longer, are happier, and cope better with adversity. Spirituality often plays a central role in this. For example, someone facing illness may find strength in faith or meditation, interpreting their struggle not as meaningless suffering but as part of a greater journey. This reframing of life events is a hallmark of spirituality. It allows pain to be transformed into growth, and uncertainty into trust. Interestingly, spiritual purpose is rarely about the individual alone. It often extends to the community and the world. Many spiritual traditions emphasize compassion, service, and the interconnectedness of all beings. This is why people inspired by spirituality often dedicate their lives to causes beyond themselves, whether helping the poor, protecting the environment, or spreading wisdom. The belief that we are part of something larger than ourselves provides both motivation and comfort. Another fascinating aspect is how spirituality redefines success. In material terms, success is external: wealth, recognition, power. But spiritually, success is internal: peace of mind, love, fulfillment. This inner success cannot be bought or measured, but is often felt as a quiet joy, a sense of being aligned with one's purpose. Spirituality also helps people navigate the greatest mystery of all: death. Knowing that life has purpose, even if temporary, eases the fear of mortality. Many traditions teach that death is not the end but a transition, making purpose not only about this life but about something eternal. So, did you know? Spirituality may not give us all the answers, but it gives us the courage to live as if our lives matter, and that courage transforms everything. Did you know? Curiosities about spirituality around the world. Did you know that spirituality takes countless forms across the globe, many of which are surprising and little known? While the search for meaning is universal, the ways humans express it are endlessly diverse. For example, in Japan, there is the practice of Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. It is not just a walk in the woods but a mindful immersion in nature, believed to heal the body and spirit. Scientific studies have confirmed that this practice lowers blood pressure, reduces stress, and enhances well-being, an ancient spiritual tradition validated by modern science. In India, the concept of karma shapes spiritual life. The idea that actions in this life affect future ones creates a powerful sense of responsibility and connection. Karma is not seen as punishment but as a spiritual law of cause and effect, guiding people toward ethical living. In Latin America, many indigenous traditions view the earth as a living being, often called Pachamama. Rituals of gratitude to the earth emphasize reciprocity, taking only what is needed and giving back in return. This spiritual worldview aligns closely with today's ecological movement, reminding us that caring for the planet is not only practical but sacred. In Africa, spiritual traditions often center on the ancestors. The belief that the spirits of those who came before us continue to guide and protect us creates a deep sense of continuity and belonging. To many communities, honoring the ancestors is a way of maintaining spiritual balance. Even in the modern West, unexpected forms of spirituality have emerged. For example, the fascination with astrology, crystals, and energy healing reflects a growing desire for connection beyond the material. While often dismissed by science, these practices reflect a timeless human longing for mystery and meaning. What all these examples show is that spirituality is not a single path, but a vast and colorful tapestry. Each culture, each tradition, offers a different thread, yet together they weave a story of humanity's eternal search for transcendence. So, did you know? Whether in a quiet forest, a sacred temple, or simply in the silence of one's heart, spirituality is everywhere. It shapes how we see ourselves, how we connect with others, and how we understand the universe. And perhaps the greatest curiosity of all is this: no matter where we are in the world, the search for spirituality is the search for what makes us truly human.